Hello and welcome to the Heresy Lodge. I am your host, Dylan Cooper, with the constant ghost over here.
Gavin Franklin.
And guys, we are here this week to preview Betrayer by Aaron Dembski-Bowden, who I think I called Adam last episode.
Really? I didn't notice.
I think so. I think I said Adam.
Oh, well, it's Aaron.
It is Aaron.
ADB is what he is called.
That is his real name.
Mm-hmm. And he, so far, delivers very well. So ADB on the podcast has a very good reputation. He wrote
First Heretic?
A couple good short stories.
Prince of Crows.
Yes, that's a good one.
You looked really confused for a minute. They're like, yeah, that's definitely a name I've heard.
Yes. So, phenomenal books. And so far, this is living up very well. But
yes.
Before we dive into that, we do have alcohol this weekend, or this episode.
Well, this is the weekend. Happy New Year's, guys. This will be coming out New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys are nice and hungover. If you aren't, you didn't have a good time last night.
Yeah. I'm definitely probably going to be hungover. I'm trying to avoid it, but I'm like, it's impossible. I know it's going to happen.
Just bring an IV bag.
Yeah. Might have to be how it is. This podcast beer is Falls City Beer Premium Pilsner. So, it's a very basic domestic beer. It tastes just
very basic.
Bud Light.
Yep.
But it's good though. Like, it's not like a shit. I think it's better than Bud Light. It's like a Miller Lite.
Well, it's because Bud Light is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone wants to disagree, you're wrong. And that's it.
I mean, it's okay, but I think this is like quality. And another interesting fact. This is from Louisville, Kentucky.
Interesting.
Well, this is apparently, like, when I purchased this, I was told that it was from a movie.
Yes.
What was that?
We Are Marshall.
We Are Marshall. Yeah. So, like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's like a football movie.
Mm-hmm. It is a football movie about the Marshall College in West Virginia.
Yeah. So one of the people on the football team gets injured before they travel across the country for a big tournament or whatever, big game.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'll have some Fall City beer waiting for you when you get back, kind of thing. But then they all die in a plane crash.
Yep, true story.
Yep. Sad.
Yep, that happened in like the 70s or 80s.
Yeah. So this is a famous beer, kind of.
It was in the movie that makes it famous for sure.
Mm-hmm.
As always, contact us, guys. Join us on the Discord. You can find that pinned to our Twitter, which is at Heresy Lodge. You can email us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. You can, if you're on the YouTube, please like the video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us. If you just listen to the podcast, please subscribe to us. Random thing I found today is Twitter, you can now send tips. So if you ever just want to tip us, Twitter's the way.
We'll do sexual things.
Maybe. Depends how big the tip is.
I don't care.
10 cents, yeah, I'll rub my nips.
Yeah, so Discord is definitely the best way to reach out to us. I actually had a really great time with someone on Discord today. Ryan from the Discord, we played some Tabletop Simulator, and it was a blast. It was a really good game. It wasn't like a super close game or anything, but he definitely had an army that has not been updated yet. Some Chaos Space Marines, which is really rough.
Yeah.
But it was a blast. Really great time. If any of you guys ever want to play like some Tabletop Simulator against either one of us, just reach out through the Discord. You can also email us and stuff like that. I'm sure we can get something going that way.
Yeah, we like to be available. I also still would like to do a 4-man group at Vermintide 2. I've talked to a guy in the Discord. Gotten 3 of us. We just need a 4th.
Yeah, one more person sign up, and we'll put a day on the calendar to do some Vermintide.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I think that's it for housekeeping things. Betrayer, how much of... We're like at the same point, about halfway.
Yeah, we do have one more thing, I think. It's kind of we have some lighting.
We do. We've
purchased.
Like, real light. As you can see in the reflection of my glasses right now, there's a big old ring light.
Yeah, so the room is... Actually, the light is off.
Yeah, this is cool.
It's kind of crazy.
It's just like a spotlight on us.
Yeah. So we obviously purchased this. Well, I got it for Christmas. And is for not only the podcast filming, but it is one of the stands. So we will be using that when we start up our battle reports, which is coming here soon, just this month. Other than that, we also got a really cool thing. Should we just show?
Thing? Let's show off our new banner. I'll keep sitting here so it's not an awkward empty seat.
We're just gonna have to lay this on the floor, I think, instead of rolling it back.
Yeah, it's fine. So for those that are watching the YouTube, I guess if you're listening to us, I will explain this. It is a banner of our logo, and it's really cool.
So we will be having this displayed in the back of our podcast episodes starting next week, and in the back of all of our YouTube videos.
At least our live videos.
Yes, absolutely. So if you're on Spotify, there's an incentive to go look at YouTube to see what it looks like.
Yes.
But it's pretty fucking cool. We're very excited. We have all the things now. We got lights, we got cameras, we got microphones, we even have banners.
Yeah, I mean, I think we made it.
That's all you need to start your own legion.
The banners have been raised.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of legions, we have two here.
We do. We have the shitty-ass word bearers and the crazy fucking world eaters. And I gotta tell you, I like the world eaters a lot.
I do. You know what my favorite part about the world eaters in the story so far is?
Is it the captain? Because she's one of my favorites.
It's how much they hate the word bearers.
They really do. Like, these fuckers again.
There's multiple times in the story where they're just like joking around and they're like, these guys are fucking cowards. You're like, you ever think they're going to come to the fight? Maybe they should just pray some more. Like, yada, yada, yada. They just like go to town. On the Vox, too. Mm-hmm. They'll talk to the word bearers and just talk shit to them the whole time. It's great.
They'll even like, Angron's like, dude, you're a fucking loser. You're weak.
However, one interesting thing from this book, I think that we'll find with Lorgar, is he starts to do some more battle stuff.
He is definitely embracing the chaos now.
Yeah, and I think the one qualm I have with it so far is I think he's a little hyped up.
Yeah, it's very... I can't talk about it in the preview because it's a spoiler.
There's a couple scenes, a couple things that he does in particular.
This motherfucker should be dead.
Yeah, not only that, but like there's a couple like things he does in combat that I'm like, what? That's like a very big feat of strength.
Yeah.
And for a Primark. Like, not all Primarks can do that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden Lorgar's just like, oh, watch me, and does this crazy shit, and I'm like, that seems weird.
Yeah, I agree.
But we have in the previous book, we had the combination of Portarabo and Fulgrim. In this book, we have Angron and Lorgar, which are just... I love the concept of these two books back to back because both of those pairings are so opposite of each other.
Yeah.
Just so incredibly different.
I don't know. I guess not too much because, I mean, when we first get in... I mean, you have the fucking Emperor's Children who are just, like, fucking crazy, right? With their like weird shit that they have going on, and you have Portarabo and the Iron Warriors, and they're like,
what the fuck?
Yeah. And then we have the Word Bearers and their shit, and the world is like, man, these guys are just a bunch of pussies.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying is like the Word Bearers and the World Eaters are very opposite. And
as far as legions,
the Iron Warriors and the Emperor's Children are very opposite.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I thought you meant like the books were like they're like.
No, the books are very similar in aspect because the books pair up two very different legions.
Yeah.
And you get to kind of see, because this is really, these two books that we have are like, what are the bad guys doing?
Yeah.
You know, like what's going on? We have a bunch of legions unaccounted for the bad guys. What are they doing? And I don't know. I'm not particularly excited about either one of these legions. Like, a lot of people love the World Eaters. I'm not, like, a huge fan of the World Eaters.
I like them a lot now. Just because, like, at least I'm really hoping that the leak is true that they're going to be, like, the next, like, Chaos Legion on the tabletop.
Sick.
Just because, like...
You just go buy them. Like, fuck the Grey Knights.
No, I mean, I still play my Grey Knights. But I just think, like, how they are as a Legion is exactly how I like to fucking play. I just want to rush in there and I want to fucking kill everything.
Yeah.
And that is like totally me to a T. I'm like, holy shit, I need this.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I guess let's talk a little bit about the setup of this book. This book follows, it's about a year after Isfahan 5. and it follows basically the other armada in Ultramar.
Yeah. So this is like right after No No Fear.
But it's not in the same place. So Calth is the word bearers led by Erebus and Corfarion, which we don't see so far in this book.
Nope.
And this portion is the assault led by Lorgar. And he, at the request of Horus, brought Angron with him. And I think we're kind of like, Lorgar in this book is kind of looking at a way to make that to his advantage.
Lorgar is very weird in this book too, because he's like
is.
obsessed with like saying like the warp is like an orchestra.
Yes.
And he's just like trying to play it and wants to make it hum like in a perfect tune. And the entire time he's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. His goal is to murder so many people in Ultramar that the warp, the Ruin Storm, which was created at Calth by Erebus, starts to expand and absorb all of Ultramar. That is his goal.
Yeah.
How that works scientifically, I don't know. But in warp
Magic.
fuckery, who knows? But that is like the idea. And I think he's looking for a way to tie Angron into this. We get a reveal at the beginning of the book, though, that Lorgar knows that Angron is actually dying. Because of the Butcher's nails.
And it's not just like his own Legion has also like figured it out, because they're like, man, this is like way worse than it has ever been.
Yes. So that's kind of the setup to the story. They're in Ultramar. They're fucking around with some worlds. The only this might be a one planet story. Like, I'm not sure. Like, we're almost halfway there, and it's only been on one planet. I can see it going further. It probably will, but like, who knows? Maybe this is another Calth. But conceptually, like, that's their plan, to destroy parts of Ultramar. They're arriving at one planet that's like a big fortress planet. I can't remember the name of it to save the life of me. But it's the story of Angron and Lorgar doing war against the Ultramarines. Now, to preface this, I think maybe we should talk about Angron and his origins, because not knowing that might be a little confusing.
Yeah.
Coming into the story.
Yeah, no, we haven't talked about Angron since like way early on in the podcast anyway. So for those that are, new to this might be new information for you. So good.
Yeah, so Angron cannot remember the name of his planet. It's like on the tip of my tongue. It starts with a D.
Yes, I know what you're talking about, because we've read it twice now. Ah, shit. That's like 2 words.
Yes, I don't know. But anyway, he comes from a planet. He landed on that planet. And basically he almost immediately became a slave to the upper class in this planet. And him and a group of people were turned into gladiators. Obviously, Angron, being a Primarch, is a prime gladiator. You know the name of it?
We weren't close. So this one said it was Euceria.
Weird.
Yeah, I thought it was like Del something.
Yeah, I don't know. So he became a gladiator, and obviously he's like prime gladiator material. But in order to increase how awesome he was in the arena, his owners implanted this device into his brain, into his skull, called the Butcher's Nails. And basically it looks like metal cornrows. Right? That's kind of like how they describe it. And it's just nails that are dug into his skin. And what they do is, whenever you experience anger or rage or violence, the nails award your brain with dopamine, endorphins, and stuff like that. So you kind of fall into this cyclical bloodlust, and most of the time you just lose your mind.
Yeah.
And you just start killing things. So one of the issues with this is when the Emperor discovered Angron instead of helping him, because Angron was trying to overthrow the planet, as most Primarks kind of did. They overthrow the current warlords. He gathered a bunch of gladiators that were in his group, went to go overthrow the rulers of the planet. And at the last battle, when Angron and his gladiator army, they were losing, about to die, the Emperor just teleported him out of there.
Whoop.
Yeah, the Emperor didn't go help. He didn't send the legions. He just teleported him out of there. The Emperor didn't talk to Angron. He just sent him to his flagship and went to, at the time, the hounds, the warhounds.
Yeah, warhounds.
Warhounds?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're like, he's like, hey, figure that shit out.
That's your guys' dad.
And we get a story about that, actually, where Karn first meets Lord or Angron. And it's a very interesting story. Like, we did not expect that at all.
No.
So let's kind of talk about this. What are your initial thoughts on this story?
Well, like, as far as like the Karn part, or like Angron being lifted up out of nowhere part?
The lifted up out of nowhere, like his backstory in general. Like, there are so many questions that I have about this. I actually find that this story is kind of like very weak.
Yeah, what makes no sense to me is like why the Emperor didn't help.
Yes. Because it very much seems to me that the Emperor could have done
anything.
So many things. Like, with little effort.
Yeah, he's the fucking Emperor.
Exactly. So, obviously, A, he could have just helped Angron liberate. But, B, he could have helped Angron get introduced to the Legion. Take Angron in tutelage, like he did to the rest of the Primarks, and, like, explain to him the Imperium and everything. And then, obviously, I think the biggest thing that doesn't make any sense to me, and this is why shit's, like, really weird. This is one of the things that, like, the Emperor's Plan episode we had, this is one of those wrenches for me. That I'm just like, what the fuck is happening in the Emperor's mind? Why didn't the Emperor remove the nails?
Well, you see, in this book, it talks about how the Emperor couldn't remove them, which makes no sense to me.
Yes.
Because we had the short story where Karn is beating the shit out of the Thousand Sun. Like, I know you guys fucking have, like, an idea.
Yeah. So this is the problem with that whole the Emperor couldn't remove the nails things. I just don't think the Emperor tried. So there were talks about how the Emperor's gene mages, or whatever the fuck he called them.
Sure.
Yeah, some sort of... The Emperor's tech priests, essentially. Yeah. They couldn't figure out a way to remove the nails. Never says the Emperor couldn't figure out a way to remove it. This is a guy that created Primarks and made deals with primordial gods to make it happen. I think he could do a complicated neurological brain surgery.
Also, like, with... So, how, like, they get, like, if they get removed from, like, a normal Astartes, like, their brain's just so fucked up that it doesn't work.
Exactly.
It's a Primark. Their fucking entire bodies regenerate in, like, a second.
We saw Fulgrim literally get a giant section of his skull, head, brain, just antimattered in fucking, this last one we saw.
Oh, Angelus Terminatus.
Angelus Terminatus. Just fucking Babby's bottle just removes it and it's just fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, how... What is this? I
want to look into this more.
This is why it's like kind of... Angron's story. One, this is how I think things kind of went. I think Mortarian's story was written first. And Angron was one of the last stories written. Mm-hmm. And they were like... Let's copy Mortarian's story, because it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, Mortarian was trying to, like, do what he wanted to accomplish on his planet, and then the Emperor was like, nope. You know, it's, like, kind of weird.
Yeah.
But also it's, like, weaker, because, like, it kind of implanted this whole idea of, like, evil Angron because of this, like, device that the Emperor could probably pretty easily turn off.
Yeah.
What I also find interesting is, like, even if the Emperor couldn't do it, something out there can. And there's no talk about them trying to find that.
Also, what I don't get is... So, like, these are supposed to be made out of some, like, ancient technology, sure. Mm-hmm. How is there enough for every single fucking Astartes in the Legion?
Yeah, it's almost as like they know
did they
how to
make
implant it. Yeah, so it makes me think, like... When they say ancient technology, it makes me think it came out of an STC. Like, there was an STC on the planet Angron was at. that they realized how they could make these butcher's nails.
Yeah.
But I feel like that same STC would like talk about how to remove them or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it seems very weird. This seems like it's called a Deus Machina, right? It's like a plot device that was introduced. It's almost like the anathema. It's like, nothing can destroy this, or this can kill everything. There's no exceptions. And I'm
well, except they can cut fucking Fulgrim 100 times and let fucking demons get shoved into him and not kill him.
Yeah, exactly. What is happening? So, I personally don't like Angron's story. This is where, though, I think the story gets more interesting. Is Angron's history with his Legion is really shitty.
Oh, yeah, like...
when he first gets put on the ship, he kills like
all of his captains,
tons of captains, and like soldiers.
Yeah,
and it's not till Karn, who I thought the story was going to go differently, but apparently just gets the shit beat out of him by Angron.
He just doesn't die.
Yeah, and Angron's like, "Well, you didn't die.
Good job."
Also, Angron in that short story talked like a fucking brute.
Yeah,
and he does not really talk like that in this book. He talks regular.
Although, granted, that's.
Maybe
probably
years.
Hundreds of years apart.
That's true. I mean, yeah, that's true. However, from my understanding, I haven't read this. I've sourced this off of various YouTube videos, like throughout a couple years. I think like a big one that I watched, I could probably credit this to, would be like Wolf Lord Rowe or something like that. But once he started as the Primarch of his Legion and agreed to lead them across the stars, he started murdering his own Astartes by basically saying, okay, you have 24 hours to take this planet, go. And if they don't take it in 24 hours, let's take it in 26, they failed. So he kills half of them. He personally himself murders half of the...
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And he just kept doing this until the Emperor was like, don't
stop.
Do that. Yeah. And then it got even worse when Angron decided, okay, now I want to introduce the Butcher's Nails to my Astartes. And Karn was the first one to do this. And kind of implanted those nails. Now, this is another part of the story that's really frustrating to me, because Karn's character, even throughout this book, is one that is like very actively trying to deny the nails.
Yeah, he hates it.
Yeah. And it's like, why did you do it?
Yeah, well, I mean, they talk about it in this book, too, that like they did it because they wanted to feel like they were closer to Angron, because like none of them were from that planet. Angron, they were all Terrans. And
they never recruited from that planet.
Yeah.
They recruited from, is it Dacia?
I feel like Dacia is the fucking actual planet.
I think it's the city, maybe.
Maybe.
It just came to me. Like, so I know for a fact, there's like, because I get this all the time from viewers where they're like, you were so close, you were so close. And if they message me now, like, Gavin, it's Dacia, I'm like, you didn't fucking listen to the whole thing.
Fucking busted.
But they were only recruiting from other planets. I don't know why that is. I think it's also possible that the Emperor not only didn't like help, I think he might have just like exterminated the entire fucking planet.
that place is no good. It's not supposed to do that.
Angron's it's not supposed to do that. Look what they did to my boy.
He's fucked.
I don't know. I need to look into that a little bit more. It's kind of weird, but they're not recruiting from that anymore. So yeah, all the world eaters always felt very distanced from Angron.
Because, I mean, they grew completely different lives. I mean, they have been going through destroying planets at the time because, they are full of Astartes, and Angron's been a fucking slave.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he was like this like big warlord. He was an actual slave.
Yes. And here's the thing. I think, personally, this whole thing would have worked without the Butcher's Nails.
Yeah.
Because the concept, in my mind, the story that I like, is that Angron was a slave. Period. Mm-hmm. He hated being a slave. And one of the big reasons he turned, he hated the Emperor for taking his victory at Dacia. I don't give a fuck about that. But the another reason that he turned was like he felt like a slave to the Imperium.
Yeah.
And he thought that people in the Imperium were also slaves, which is fucking true.
Yeah,
like
not wrong.
They kind of robbed Angron of this really beautiful plot point in my mind, where it really should have been more about the people of the Imperium are slaves, and I'm against that.
Yeah,
I think that would have been a much better like thought-provoking advice, other than brain nails make me angry.
I am so big and strong, I kill.
Yeah, and like he could have still been this like crazy badass, but I just think they kind of went the wrong direction with that. But kind of going forward from there, he would implant the butcher's nails into his legion, and one of the results of that is they sent the wolves after them. The Emperor sent, I don't know if the Emperor sent it or the wolves decided to just go.
Could go either way, honestly.
Yeah. So Lehman Russ was sent, or went to it by his own decision, to go and try and rein in the World Eaters. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure I know how that went.
Oh, well, they talked about it in this book.
I think the story is later in the book. I think it goes further into what happened.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty sure, from what I understand, is like the World Eaters believe that they won, but in reality, they did not. Like, I think that's kind of how it works. So that's kind of the history of Angron and what all happened, and now he's caught up in Horus's rebellion, and I think there's a bit of like a power struggle, and not necessarily a power struggle, but like Horus believes Angron is his Lehman Russ, but Angron is not a dog.
No.
And it's like one of my favorite quotes, one of my favorite starting things in the book. Can we talk about like how the book even starts? It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like the quotes first off, because we get quotes in the beginning of the book. The one by Karn is so fucking sick. The one where he compares the World Eaters to the Space Wolves, and he's like, it doesn't make sense that they're called the Space Wolves because wolves are wild.
Yeah.
Only dogs do what they're told, which is why we're no longer the Warhounds.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Fucking sick. And he's like, they should be the space dogs or some shit like that. And I was like, wow, way to just like talk shit but make sense at the same time.
Yeah.
And then, like, I literally pictured the opening to this like a movie, because the opening to it is like a bunch of quotes from around Eshramar from all of these captains, basically doing like SOS signals, like help. Like, I'm literally imagining like an opening movie scene. It's just like black, and all you hear in the background is help, help, our ship is going down, we're being attacked, we've been betrayed, yada yada. Just all over the place, and it's just kind of show that Eshramar is getting fucked up.
Yeah.
And
we get a revelation here too, that
one I hate. I know exactly what you're about to say
about the Furious Abyss.
Yes.
So we have the Furious Abyss that gets just destroyed. Apparently the War Bears have 3 fucking more.
There are 2 more. They built 3. One, Furious Abyss was one of them.
Oh, they had 4, and they had 3 left.
So he built.
So you had the Blessed Lady.
There's another one that comes in, and the Furious Abyss was the 3rd one it blew up. Because when he gets asked, he's like, "You built 2 ships," and then Lord Garlive's like, "No, I built 3."
Yeah. The other guy was an idiot, though.
Yeah. So that was. So I do want to talk about that. So we do get the revelation very early on, chapter 1 of this book, that the Furious Abyss was not the only ship that he built that was that big. He built 3 of them, and that pissed me off. It really did.
Yeah, like what was the whole point of the Furious Abyss at that point?
Exactly. And like, I liked the Furious Abyss.
Yeah, it was a good read.
It was a really good read. But this book, more than anything, like, it was already a book that like you didn't have to read. And I was like, you could throw this away. Like, you could throw the Furious Abyss away and it would make zero impact. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, at least it talks about how it destroyed the most important ship in the Warhammer history. Nope. There's 2 more
exactly like it.
It just shows up. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's kind of mute at the end of the day, you know? And like, why didn't they bring one of those to Calth? Yeah. Like, this whole concept of the big ships, I'm like, why did we do this? This seems like silly. But that was a revelation that was frustrating. But I also want to talk about, once we actually get to chapter 1, how the book actually starts and who is involved. And that is super fucking interesting.
Yeah, the whole like first 2 chapters is very interesting between those two.
Yeah, so one of the Primarks that I was not expecting to be a part of this story at all was Magnus the Red.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck. And I'm really glad that they're acknowledging this. So it kind of starts out and it reveals, because we know that Magnus and Lorgar have a very good relationship. And it reveals that Lorgar is trying to recruit Magnus into Horus's ranks.
Mm-hmm.
We know in 40K who is traitor, who is loyal.
Yep.
But the Thousand Sons at this point have not declared their allegiance.
They're just chilling.
Yeah. And,
I mean, Magnus doesn't have a body. It's just like a fucking
well, he does have
ethereal body type of deal.
But it's trapped in the warp with the rest of his dudes. And so this whole conversation is like Lorgar trying to convince Magnus to join. And Magnus just kind of talking to Lorgar. And they're every time. So this is the second Magnus Lorgar conversation that ADB wrote. And man, this shit's beautiful.
It is. It's so good.
There's one thing that frustrates me about this conversation. But then it doesn't. Like I kind of like look back on like that doesn't frustrate me. Because that's such a Magnus thing to fucking say. They talk about. They're like. They check in on each other. Like, how you doing? How you doing? Kind of thing. And Magnus asks Lorgar about Erebus and Argal Tall.
Mm-hmm.
And Lorgar's like, they're just caught up in their own game. You know, like they're not even listening to me
Erebus
anymore.
and Corfarion.
Yes, Corfarion. Yeah, my bad. They're caught up in their own game. They're ridiculous. Because it is revealed that Lorgar's favorite son is Corfarion. Which I get.
Yeah.
Because he's my favorite, too.
I mean, Argal. God
fucking damn it.
Corfarion sucks. He's the old man that we want to die.
Argal Tall's the badass. Lorgar's like, Argal Tall is my favorite son. And Argal Tall's like, I hate you, Dad.
Look what you made me.
Just love me. But Magnus asks about Erebus and Corfarion. Erebus. And Lorgar talks about how they're like doing their own shit, which is very true. They're like, fuck Lorgar, I'm the most powerful sorcerer in the room. We saw Erebus get his shit wrecked by Horus.
Yeah.
And Fear to Tread, at the end of Fear to Tread, it was fucking great. So it was like, it's just cool. And he also asked Magnus about Ahriman. And Magnus is like, Ahriman's doing the same thing. He's not doing what I'm telling him to. He's lost in his own sauce. And I'm like, that's a fucking lie. Like, Ahriman's a genius, and he's trying to save the Thousand Sons. Like, what are you talking about? Like, Ahriman's kind of the hero of the Thousand Sons story, not Magnus. Magnus is not the hero. And then I like thought about it. I'm like, that's exactly what Magnus would say, though. Like, Magnus would absolutely say, like, well, because he's not doing what I told him to.
Yeah, he's an arrogant bastard.
He's terrible. And I'm like, well, have you ever thought that maybe what you told him to do was stupid? And like, I don't know. That was so frustrating to hear that. And then I just realized that like, Magnus is such a cocky motherfucker.
Yes.
And Lorgar lays him out in this conversation too. Like he fucking rips Magnus a new one. And it is such a good I don't want to spoil too much of it. But I just wanted to talk about that because that was a frustrating thing to me. And then, like, looking back, I'm like, that's such a Magnus move. Ahriman is totally doing his own thing. He sucks.
Which chaos god do the word bearers follow?
They are Chaos Undivided.
Okay.
They follow the Pantheon, which is all of them.
That's a very Lorgar move, yeah.
I don't want to pick. I want them all to love me the most.
You're all gods. Every single one of you.
You're a god. You're a god. You're a god. I'm fully convinced that if I was actually maybe getting on a word bearer ship would be the best chaos invasion, because then you could just get them to worship you and then you win.
This is such a smart idea.
I could either fight them or convince them that I'm a god, and that doesn't take much apparently.
You're the one fucking Alpha Legionary that's just in like, God damn it.
That sucks.
Why am I praying to this?
I can get you out of here. Let's get out of here. This guy just like shows up. He's like, listen, I realized that you convinced everyone that you're a god, and I just want off this fucking shit.
Dude, look, I'm Alfarius.
Me too. Let's fucking go.
This is even weirder. Too weird for me.
I'm actually Alfarius. I need to get out of here. Yeah, so really awesome conversation. We also get a great conversation later in the book with Horus.
Yes.
I don't want to like spoil too much of that conversation, but you get more revealed that there is definitely a power struggle going on, and Lorgar is like,
sure, it's your word, brother.
He's such a bitch. Lorgar is such a bitch.
But at the same time, like, he's kind of playing everyone like a fiddle.
No, I see. That's the problem. Is like,
well, I mean, Chaos is playing him like a
exactly.
fiddle, but he is gets to manipulate everyone else around him.
But is he? Because if we think about this, right, it's like, did Lorgar really win at Cal? No. Did Lorgar really win against Korax? No. Is Lorgar really gonna win here? Probably not.
No, but
Lorgar's getting his ass wiped like he should, and then he's going and walking around like, I'm the priest. And I'm just not going to tell you things because I'm so smart and I'm a genius. And I'm like, oh, I just want someone to kill this bitch.
Oh, I agree. He should die. He should have died in this book already. But, like, he's been shown the future, right? So he's like, he's cocky about it because he's like, I'm not going to die here because I'm going to die somewhere else.
That is such. So I do want to talk about the conversation he has with Horus because that is such bullshit. Because he even admits in that conversation.
Yeah, you can't trust at all.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, what are you doing? It's like that when we talked in the last story with Lorgar, which was the first heretic, when he's going through all those tarot cards.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is what this means, this is what this means. And I'm like, well, you can interpret that
differently, yeah.
in a completely different way. And you're just like full sail. And like, one thing that I find interesting is why he says he's saving Ingron from the conversation of Horus. So I'm like, obviously you don't fucking know everything.
Yeah. He's
trying to make like fail safes. I just think it's very interesting that Lorgar is just like so sure of himself for literally no reason. Like, he has no reason to be so sure of the path.
I mean, he's basically started the heresy.
Yeah, Lorgar was the one. His patheticness. I would say the heresy started at Monarchia.
Yeah.
The heresy started when they conquered Monarchia and told him to worship the Emperor. That's how it all began.
Yeah.
And then Erebus took it from there.
You know what? I really like demons. They're kind of hot. Let's see what I can do in there.
Imagine. Okay, listen. I really want to fuck a demon. But it's really hard when there's only like one. If we could just cover the universe in demons.
Imagine a demon orgy, okay? Now listen, Horus. Listen real good. You get to be the king.
Of the orgy.
Of the orgy.
Now let me ask you this question. How many demons do you need for it to be a demon orgy? More than one. We're gonna need more. Get Fulgerman here. He knows what I'm talking about. There's that video that was shared in Discord about the it was the Iron Hands.
Iron Hands versus
Iron Warriors going up against the Imperial Fists.
Yeah.
And they're like, the Imperial Fists are on the wall. Why don't you go home to your big titty demon girlfriend? No, your big dick titty. Was it? It was a big dick demon girlfriend. That's what it was.
Big
go
dick
home
demon
to your
girlfriend.
Big dick demon girlfriend. It's like, I do not have a big dick demon girlfriend. And at the end, he's like, I'm gonna go hang out with my big dick demon girlfriend.
But we're gonna come back.
Yeah, they know. They know. They all know. They know what they're in for. They're like, well, listen, I've seen some really sexy shit. Have you been on Fulgrim shit? Those things have 9 tits.
I don't even know what to do with them.
That's not even an even number.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
They're putting 9 arms on themselves so they can grab them all. So yeah, that's Erebus. So that's kind of Lorgar's plan. The conversations that he has. Let's go through the cast list that we're running into because there are a few.
What was that hidden gem in there?
I thought it was yours. Like, is this some sort of weird thing I should look at? But it's mine. It's the receipt for the book. Let's go through the cast list here. Here we go. All right, the Primarks. Obviously, we get to see Horus, Angron, Lorgar, and Magnus, as mentioned. Apparently, Rabute Gilman comes up. We haven't seen him yet. I can't actually imagine.
I could see it being him, like,
near the
showing
end.
up.
Yeah. I think that it's probably more likely that we see Lehman Russ as well in the flashback.
No, I can see that.
Mm-hmm. Let's go through some world eaters. So we have two world eaters that are right at the top here. Vorius and Eska, and they are librarians. Mm-hmm. Librarians and the world eaters is a very interesting story. So the world eaters, when they put in the butcher's nails, it didn't work well with psychers.
No, like they were just like, some would blow up, some like their powers would just go out of fucking control,
some
and
would
kill
other people. Yeah, so the world eater psychers that are still alive, they do not have the nails, because Angron tried and it didn't work, and some fucked up shit happened to those psychers that got the nails and was able to survive. So there's a lot of discussion about the librarians and the world eaters. Their role with Angron is very interesting.
Yeah, because he like basically can't stand them.
Yes, but he needs them.
Yeah.
Like, he needs them more than any other Primarch needs their librarians.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering, wait a minute, why are there librarians? I thought the Council of Nicaea happened.
My favorite fucking quote in this book, they're like, yeah, we actually just ignored that. We don't give a fuck about that.
There was a whole statement here that was like, oh yeah, so some people might be curious as to why we have librarians after the Council, but we just didn't listen to it.
It's like,
that was all I said.
That sounds like the other legions too.
Yeah, if you like, I love this whole concept. I was like, okay, let's go through the legions and talk about psychers. Well, let's start with the Space Wolves.
No, dude, Rune Priests.
Clearly fucking
very
psychers.
Different.
Obviously psychers. Then we go to the first legion with the lion. Oh, we're going to get rid of our psychers. And then the lion's like, we need our fucking psychers. Do some psychic shit right now. So, okay.
If you don't fucking do it, we're all going to die.
It's like they're cool with psychers. All right. How about the world eaters? Yeah, we never stopped.
Dude, there's only 3 of us anyway.
I don't give a fuck.
We don't even like our librarians. We hope they die.
You can go to the Death Guard. Well, we fucking hate psychers. Their first captain, Equary Typhus. I'm a fucking psyker. I'm just not telling anybody.
Captain Garo.
I'm also a psyker. Just don't tell anyone either. It's like, what the fuck? And then you, like, literally can just keep going down the line. Like, the only legion I have seen that has not sported psychers is the Sons of Horus Legion.
Yeah, actually.
I haven't seen any psychers in the Emperor's Children.
No, because that wouldn't be beautiful.
That wouldn't be beautiful. That would be just so fucked up.
It's fucking blasphemy.
Blood Angels.
We saw them.
Blood Angels were like, hey, we shouldn't use our psychic powers, but we did to save Sanguinius. And Sanguinius is like, oh, we'll talk about it later.
This is a problem for another day.
Exactly. Ultramarines. Gilliman is like, you know, we didn't use psychers because Dad told us not to, but we can use that to our tactical advantage.
And it would be really smart if we did it right now with these demon things.
Yeah, wow, what? It was so smart. And it's like, are they going to get in trouble? No, because it was to a tactical advantage. And then you have Thousand Sons. Thinks about using psychers, kill them all. Fucking kill them all. Murder all the Thousand Sons.
Send the wolves.
And his psychers to go kill those psychers because they're evil.
And all billion sisters of silence.
Fucking,
there should be like 3 of them, but there's a billion.
we need to murder all of the Thousand Sons immediately. Some dude had a dream about the future. Like, come on, dude. Have sex dreams regularly like everyone else.
At least to their defense, Magnus kind of fucked up a lot of shit with this psyker stuff.
That's true. You could very much so argue that, like, even though the Council on Nicaea was passed, like, the Thousand Sons were still doing psychic shit. Yeah. And no one was fucking with them.
No, it wasn't until he was like, boom!
You even think of the Furious Abyss.
These are all the demons.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. Guess what, though? Horus bad.
Yeah, that's probably when the Emperor's like,
God damn it.
I let you slide. But this is a whole different
Dude, you
thing.
just wiped out like entire fucking cities. The Astronomicon's fucked. You just let demons in my fucking like office.
Yep. And on top of that, too, like I think of like the Furious Abyss when like Motep does some psychic shit and they're like, that's against the Council of Nicaea. And then the Ultramarine is like, we'll cross that bridge later.
Yeah, he just killed like 1 billion demons. It's fine.
Shit's going down. So if we continue past the Psychers, we have first and the most important, Karn. Karn's fucking great.
Yes.
First off, the voice actor is like Russian.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
And it's actually really cool. Like,
is he better than us?
yes.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Not one bit.
Actually, it's about the same, I would say. So we have Karn.
We should be voice actors.
We should. I feel like,
We can read novels.
yes, very much, very much.
Yes,
we
he
can
is.
read many novels. I am Karn.
I will fucking crush and kill.
Yeah, I
That
don't
is
know.
Karn.
That doesn't.
I am World Detour.
That does not. That World Etor. So Karn is the main character of this book. It follows him and his thing with this whole thing. Like we
His
obviously,
thing with this whole
you know,
thing.
this conquering of Ultramar and all that shit. That he's like kind of being dragged along. He doesn't like Angron. No one likes Angron.
No.
He is the equator to Angron, so he's going to try and do what's best for him. And he wants to be close to Angron, but he's like,
That's a dick.
yeah.
You kind of ruined all of us with these fucking butcher's nails.
He hates the nails, and they're like, this is one of the things I kind of hate about the world leaders is they should actually really suck as a legion.
Oh yeah, because I mean,
They
have
literally
no
black
tactics.
out, and then they just like run out into the wild. I'm like,
yeah, like they will like literally
Ultramarines,
just like lose people because they just go off killing shit.
not just people, they're Primark.
Yeah, he just disappears.
The
like,
Primark
have you
literally
guys seen
starts
Angron?
digging a hole
Nope.
in the wrong direction. He just starts digging down. I'd be like, why did our Primark turn into a mole? All of a sudden, he gets all mad. This is it.
Where's the core?
I'm gonna destroy the planet by tearing it apart. I'm just like, oh god.
I will hit
is
this
terrible.
tectonic plate and it's gonna shake so bad.
I'm taking it out by digging. Troops, get your shovels. And like everyone's blacked out.
We had the whole scene where Horus like dug underground to fucking pop into Sanguinius, and we had fucking Ankron just going to the core of the plane like fuck it.
How are we gonna beat them? Dig deeper. But sir, we can already fit in the trenches. Deeper. We have to go to the very center.
You want this world to die, right?
And like their tags are terrible. They literally black out and just make terrible attack choices. And the Ultramarines are goading them into bad attacks.
Yeah.
I'm like, the Ultramarines should be slaughtering them.
Easy.
One of the things I hate about this book is I don't think it is it doesn't deliver that as well. Like it'll talk about like how insane the Ultramarines tactics are and how they're slaughtering them all. And then the next thing it's like, and then thousands of world leaders rose up. I'm like, how are there still thousands of you alive? You just got fucking destroyed.
they did bring up the whole Legion.
That is true.
And you're only going against probably like a company's worth.
That is true. I think one of the issues I have with these books in my mind is when I'm reading them, I think of the tide of battle. And I'm looking at like the things that are describing, like the Ultramarines should be winning at about 80%. And then like the next paragraph I'm reading, it's like, oh, the world leaders like pushed back. And I'm like, it didn't seem like it was going that way. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just think in order to make the book elongated and more thrilling, they constantly bring it back to the middle. Even though, in reality, based off of tactics, the Ultramarines should have really fucking crushed this ground battle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the word bearers should also be there in theory.
But they fuck up too.
They're just fucking around.
The word bearers are literally going around praying. They're crucifying people. They're crucifying Ultramarines. And the world leaders come around like, what are you doing? We just like lost 2,000 men over there. What are you doing? I'm like, they're like, Omni Yeshi's Equium. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they only talk like their own language too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they won't.
The worders like, man, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. And there's like one point where Karn's like on the Vox and he's like, "Oh, your Primark's here," and then all the word bearers show
that's like
up.
confirmed. He's
Yeah.
like confirmed. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, it's like, does that
Confirmed.
mean you're gonna actually show up, or and then the word bearers do really word bearer things.
Yeah, it's like the Karn's literally just like laughing. So he's like, "You fucking pussies."
Exactly. So going down.
There's a lot of characters in this book.
Yes, we have Karn's company. Kargos is the apothecary. He's pretty awesome. Jadek and Skane.
I like Skane.
Skane is very cool. And then we have Garte. Gart. Yeah, he's just another.
Yeah.
He's another one of the 8th Company. And then we have people I'm not like super sure on now. Like they probably were mentioned. I just don't remember it. Delvaris.
Is that?
It's the Centurion of Delvaris Triari Squad. I think
Could that be the
they're the
Dreadnoughts?
I don't think so. I think this guy's the Dreadnought because it says
Oh yeah, Dreadnought. Yeah.
Dreadnought. I think Delvaris is supposed to be. This is a guess, but I think they're supposed to be the ship guard.
Oh. Oh, I can't wait to talk about that in the review because that's that's literally why I was like, yeah, I want a World Eaters army.
Yes. So I think the Delvaris dude is supposed to be like leader of the ship guard, and when I say supposed to be, there's reasons for it.
Yes. It's amazing, honestly.
Then we have Lork, Lhorke. Would you say that's Lork? How would you pronounce that?
Lork, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm really gonna like this character.
Yeah, I like him so far. I've only had like a page.
He is the first Dreadnought. I don't know if that means he's literally the first Dreadnought, but I know for a fact he is the first Dreadnought of the World Eaters.
Yes. Well, I mean, he wasn't even a World Eater when he became a Dreadnought.
Yeah, he was a
Warhound,
and he has feelings about things.
Yeah, he does not care about the World Eaters very much.
He is woken up. I can't wait to hear this guy's story because it could go one of two ways. It could either just be like loyalty first kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In which way it sways, but he was a Warhound. And he was woken up, and he has no idea about the heresy.
Yeah, he's like, what are we being boarded by? And they're like, Ultramarines. He's like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Ultramarines?
Then we have Neris, who is also another Dreadnought. Okay, then we head into the Word Bearers Legion.
Argotol, rest are gay. Not like cool gay.
No. I mean, they're pretty terrible. We have Argotol. He's pretty phenomenal. Obviously, he's the Vorbarak. If you guys aren't aware, he's like half demon, half space marine.
Yeah,
he's slowly transitioning into a full demon. But as for right now, whenever he's in battle, he will start turning into a demon. I think he's a little overpowered in this book.
Yeah, I mean, his wings can like block bullets.
Yeah, and he's walking around with spears from.
Oh, which was
Custodes.
so cool.
It was so cool. So he looted the Custodes spheres that he killed in First Heretic, and he took one from the dude that killed Zaffin.
Yeah, that was so cool. I was like,
I know that guy.
Yeah, he was the best one. Yeah, talking to the end.
It was really awesome. We have Erebus. Now, as we have confirmed, Erebus is both the bad and the good gay. He is a terrible person, and he does like dicks. Mainly demon dicks. Horus, think about all the demon dicks.
Dude, we could have so many orgies.
Yes. And then we have Eshramar. He's another, basically, he's under Argotol. He's another Valborak demon.
He's a word bearer.
Yep. Weird guy. We have Ultramarines. The only guy that's mentioned is Orfeo Cassander. And Orfeo Cassander is actually, everything I've read from him so far, he's actually kind of a badass.
Yeah.
Like, the funniest thing that I've seen this guy do, because it's such an Ultramarine thing to do, is like the Ultramarines are getting their fucking asses handed to him. And he like calms the World Eater ship, and he's like, All right, I'll take your terms of surrender. All right. Let's talk about the fleet personnel.
Oh, fuck yes.
There's a spoiler in this list that I did not realize because I haven't read the list yet. But hey, I think we'll skip that one.
Yeah.
If you don't have the book, because I've only listened to this on audiobook. So
I did talk about that in First Heretic on review.
I think you might be right. I had no idea. But I'm listening to audiobook, so I don't get any of this.
Yeah.
And by the way, the audiobook for this is fucking phenomenal. It's been good. So before we go to the first captain of the ship, because we can talk a lot about that, we have just some regular officers. So you have Tobin, which is the first officer, the Hellerthon, or Fayed Hellerthon, which is another officer. And all these people, and we have Kajik. They're all like officers on the ship that, on the Conqueror, and the Conqueror is the flagship of the World Eaters. And I gotta say, they're really the coolest crew I've seen.
They are badass.
Yeah, and like they have this. It's really fun to read about ship crews that have like a camaraderie, and they do camaraderie really well.
Yeah.
And then you have a really interesting character to me, which is Laharla, which is the
That's it.
Laralla, Lehralla, Laralla.
Let's see, Lehralla, maybe.
Yeah. So basically, she's the person on the ship that is getting all this information fed to her and feeding it back to the people on the bridge. But she's literally hooked up to the ship permanently.
Yeah, she's like a fucking.
She has like things coming out of her head attaching to the top of the ship.
Yeah.
And the only thing I think of was like, wow, when chaos infects this shit, I can't imagine
She's fucked.
what your life is going to be like. It's going to be so terrible. And then we have probably my favorite character so far is Lotara Seren. So Lotara Seren is the captain of the Conqueror. She's
a bad bitch.
She is the youngest captain ever of a flagship like that. And holy fuck. So she's just like, speaks her mind, does whatever the fuck she wants.
Yeah. She's actually like respected by the World Eaters.
Yes, they're like,
don't fuck with her.
Gave her a special mark. She talks to Angron however the fuck she wants.
Yeah.
And like, who does that?
Mm-hmm. And there's like a scene in the book where like something's happening. And they're like, I understand why the World Eaters like her so much, and it's because she acts just fucking like them.
Yeah. And like, she also is like super interesting. I think one of my favorite things so far is while they're doing a space battle, one of the enemy ships, who is just completely doomed, does this like really cool maneuver. And she's like, vox them and tell them that was awesome.
Yeah. She's like, no, seriously, like, I want you to tell them how fucking cool that was.
Yeah. And she's like, I love that. I'm like, what a cool thing.
Ma'am, no response. Try again.
Just make sure they know that I really respect what they just did. And of course, you have the Ultramarines that are like, what? Like, we're trying to kill you, And like, she's just like, I have admiration. You know what I mean? I think
I find something very interesting. There has been a lot of women captains in the books that we've read.
Yeah. I think what it is, and I do enjoy this, is this is a story of Space Marines. Mm-hmm. And all Space Marines are male.
Yeah.
So I think they look for every opportunity they can to introduce female figures, which I think is great.
Yeah, there's been some like really badass ones.
Yeah, some of these like
especially some of the captains have been nuts.
Really well written. The captain in the first Heretic that died with Argal Tall.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the Furious Abyss had a really badass one.
She was a badass woman captain. There are just like, because a lot of times when they do the male captains, you kind of get just like this scruffy old man.
Yeah, that's exactly what I imagined too.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, when you get to women, I think of this like fiery redhead kind of captain. I'm like, that's what
Total
I would
babe.
expect. Yeah, total. Every single female captain I've imagined is hot as fuck.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of like the one chick from like Mass Effect.
You get what I'm
Woman
saying.
Shepherd.
And then we get into a lot of we get into the Mechanicum. And we have Vel Karadar. So I don't know this person in the story yet.
What's their position?
However, his position is Archmagos Venturatus, representative of Calbor Hal. We know Calbor Hal. Calbor Hal is the head dude, right?
The head dude.
On Mars. What is he called?
Oh yes, is he in the Titan, or is it a different Magos in the Titan?
I don't think he's in a Titan. He's just a representative of. Isn't Calbor Hal the like?
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of it?
King Magos. I don't fucking
Yeah. It's gonna bug the shit, but you know what I mean. He's like the king of Mars, essentially. Yeah, I can't think of it in my Grand Magos or maybe something.
No,
like
it's
that.
like I think it's like something like Forge Master or some bullshit. Damn, this is gonna bother the fuck out of me.
Yeah, so he's basically. I don't know which legion he's representing to. I'm gonna assume it's probably the World Eaters.
How do I spell his fucking name?
Calbor Hal.
Okay, got it.
All right, and then we get to 2 Titan Legion crews. So you have the Ember Wolves.
Fabricator General.
Jesus
Christ.
We have two Titan Legions that occur. You have the Ember Wolves and the Sentinels of Edge. I'm pretty sure that the Sentinels of Edge are loyalists, and the Ember Wolves are...
Whichever one is the Lasanga is the traitor.
I don't see a Lasanga, unfortunately.
It's like what they ended up like naming the actual Titan.
Oh,
Yeah, Sirgala. Yeah, it's like the first Titans or some bullshit.
Yeah, so they're the traitors.
Yeah.
So you get a really badass fucking Titan scene with a loyalist Titan.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking sick. Like it literally made me want to kind of buy a Titan army for a minute there. It really did. I was like, wow, this thing is cool as fuck. And then you get another really badass scene with the loyalist and traitor Titan. I'm like, I really want to buy a traitor Titan army. It's fucking cool. This is just the various crew members. I don't know if they really get like broken up in the story outside of their Titan.
Mm-hmm.
So far, they're just in them, so it's kind of where we're at there. Then we get some non-Imperial personae. These people I do not know. So we have a Perpetual, and that is Daemon Prytanis. I think Daemon Prytanis is the third Perpetual that's mentioned by John Grammaticus when he meets all in No Fear.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
You remember how he mentions like there's only a certain amount of
Yeah,
them
it's like
left?
3 of us or 4 of us, something like that.
Yeah, and I think Daemon Prytanis is one of them. So
I wonder if he knows about the other person that we skipped over.
Yeah, we're going to leave that, I think. I don't think... If you're reading this, I would actually suggest not looking at the cast list. Because the ones that are important, you already know.
Yeah.
And the ones that are kind of a secret are there. Which I don't like. Because I feel like most of the time, if there's a secret character, they leave it out of the list.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. But those are the main characters. We are definitely over time already. It's kind of crazy, but... Yeah, those are the characters that we kind of arrived at.
Being about halfway through, how do you feel this book?
Oh, I love this book. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't gotten bored from any of the writing yet. Like, there's not been a single time. There's only been, like, small instances that I'm kind of annoyed about this. Very small things. And most of the time, like with the Magnus thing, I'll look back and be like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, like, especially in, like, Andrew Exterminatus, like, it was, like, tons of, like, dude, I do not want to read this anymore. But, like, this one, like, I'm, like, reading a chapter, I'm like, oof, do I have enough time to read another? Because I don't like stopping mid-chapters. I'm like, do I have, like, 25 minutes? Nope. Okay, I gotta stop.
It's good. I have no qualms with this book. Like, I've been super excited this because of ADB. He's not disappointing so far. Based off of the list that I just saw of people, I think it's going to get even crazier.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that is frustrating to me is I think Lorgar's too cool.
Yes. A little OP.
He's not that OP and cool in my mind based off of everything we've seen. I'd like to see him kind of get put in his place a bit in this book.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, guys, that is our preview of Betrayer. Next week, we'll be back with our review. And as always, you can contact us by emailing us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. Tweet at us at heresylodge. Join the Discord while you're over there. That is pinned to the top. If you are listening to us, please get to the YouTube and like and subscribe. If you are watching us, please like the video. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. It helps us out a lot. As mentioned before, we now take tips on Twitter. Yes, that's the thing.
If that's the thing.
Yeah. Don't feel obligated.
Not at all.
I just turned it on because I was like, oh, that's neat. So yeah, that's it, guys. We'll be back next week, and hope you have a great new year. Don't have too much fun. If you do, just don't drink and drive. Have a good one, guys.